Hey Sharif, how you doing, brother? A Happy Games Hydrated one and lag-free one. I wouldn't say a Happy Game is a lag-free one, but yeah, if you don't have lag, you're definitely going to be happier. But that's if it's something you could control. Okay, I'll tell you something. I bet gamers years from now in the future, like I'm talking like after I'm dead, like fucking like 40, 50 years from now or something, the internet they're going to have then, the stability, but it's going to be absolutely insane. Imagine like no lag, none of like the internet dropping out, anything like that. Oh my god, it'd be so good. NASA interwebs to all little Twitch-year-old gamers. I don't even think NASA have it, to be completely honest with you. Okay, now. Fuck that. Nope, straight away out. Gone. Not fucking with no goddamn dog with that many fucking weed things out there. Not when I've got all this loot. I've been working on something though, Sharif. I don't know where I was inspired from. I think it's because I'm doing separate thumbnails for all like the Alone in the Dark ones. So what I've also done is I've been doing separate thumbnails now after, I think it's part 17, so part 18 onwards. There's now an individual thumbnail for each part of the Warhammer 3 campaign for Kemla. And I might try doing that going forward for future Warhammer campaigns. They take longer to make and to come up with an idea for the image link into the part, but they can be quite rewarding. I think someone might do well, I hope, at least anyway. Like there's the one in Spook Chat with Durfu. That's one of them, but I've done others that I think are even better than that one. So I hope some good stuff comes out of it. I'm going to company, aren't we? Customised enough each episode makes sense, but it's just extra work. It's extra work. I've got the time to do it because if you spoke to my girlfriend, what she'd tell you is I've been making a lot of the thumbnails on my days off. So on my Monday and Tuesday, which are normally my days off, actually aren't my days off. They're actually my thumbnail making days. Or like if I finish a stream early, say if I finish today at like 7 or 8, I'll use that extra time to make some thumbnails. And then it'll be the same for like on Sunday as well. Sunday when I finish the stream earlier, I'll make some thumbnails on Sunday. So I've got like 3-4 days a week where I can make some extra thumbnails if need be. I've just got to make sure that I'm far enough ahead in the content that I've got time to make the thumbnails. Because like the Alone in the Dark ones, that's based on a screenshot in that particular part or that particular episode. But I've got to go and find what I think will be a decent screenshot. Like relevant to the... I want to somehow keep the thumbnail a little bit in sync with the name of the episode or name of the part. Where I can. It's not always the easiest thing to do. Bit behind the videos, haven't started Alone in the Dark yet. It's going to be there, buddy, anyway. It won't be going anywhere. Once Alone in the Dark's completed, I'll be starting Close to the Sun. I think it's the next campaign I'm doing. I've got 2 thumbnails from Ethan. I'll probably use those on some episodes, but just on one each. And then I've got... and then I'm going to make some of my own thumbnails from the in-game stuff, hopefully. Hopefully something good I can get. It looks like a Bioshock-esque game, that one, but it looks like a lot shorter than Bioshock. Bioshock was a longer game, which I enjoyed, because the thing with Bioshock is that it was one of those games that was long to complete, but you didn't feel, oh my god, is this game going to end? The game was just that good. The only problem with Bioshock is 2K is the developer, and they're really stingy when it comes to people making content. Like, they don't let you show any of the cutscenes, even though the game's been out fucking god knows how long. And they do sometimes target content creators and make them take down their content if you haven't got like permission from them, which is like, to me, it's really scumbaggy, because in all honesty, developers for games and publishers should work hand in glove. We promote their games for free to our audiences, regardless how big or small we are, and if anything, they should be thankful we're doing that. We don't ask them for any money, and they still get money from us when we buy the game. So I don't know what their gripe is, I really don't. Have you played System Shock? I can't say I even know what that is.
You are true professionals.
In for a treat then. System Shock's an old sci-fi horror game. The only problem with sometimes, it depends how old. Has it aged well? Is it one of those games that people are still going to give a shit about, or going to be like, fucking hell, this is like that retro, it's fucking boring sort of thing? Is it going to be janky because it's old? Is it got good enough graphics where it can make decent thumbnails? Example, like the Black Mesa game. That's an old game that's been kind of like remade, but the graphics are still kind of like old, so the thumbnails aren't fantastic compared to like Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark's like a remake remaster, but it's had its graphics substantially upgraded compared to the original. If I did thumbnails off of the original game, they'd look terrible. Hello Ethan, how you doing, brother? There is 1 and 2, and there is a remake. Do the graphics look better, like a lot better than the original? Or are they like, is he going to take that, Squidward? Come on, Squidward, take your stuff. How's it going, my brother? How's it going with all the exams and stuff? All done, dusted and chilling. Good, got info. Surrey unit, which is top 10 in UK. Very good. Very good. I was going to either Hallam or Cambridge were the two that I wanted to go to. That's specifically because I wanted to go to a certain course. And back when I was doing it, I wanted to do like a programming course. There was only, I think, 4 universities in the country that actually had a course that I wanted. Hallam was one up in Sheffield. Cambridge was another, which I got the UCAS points for both. Oxford was another, but I didn't get the UCAS points for Oxford, because that's even higher than Cambridge. And then there was one more, and I think it was in either Manchester or Birmingham. And I didn't get, well, I did have the UCAS points, but I didn't want to go to the course. I'm like, if I'm going to travel that far, I might as well go to Cambridge. But Cambridge was like 4 times the price of Hallam. And I'm like, I can't afford that. I tend to think what the price of Cambridge is these days. Being it's like the second most prestigious university in all of fucking England. First game on graphics started on par with Half-Life. Remake's a lot better. It came out last year. I'll have to have a look at it. So a little look. I've still got a list to work through at the moment though, Strafe, so anything else at the moment I'll be getting put on the put into the back of the list, so to speak. Because I've still got all the games I've previously bought from me by a lot of you guys. I've still got to work through those. Fair went to Spoons, then clubbing, yesterday, and literally every sixth form was out. Town had thousands of people in, so a lot of reunions. When you say spoons, do you mean Weatherspoons? Posted it on the ideas for content section. It's £40. Can have the pricing that out a bit, aren't they? Jesus Christ. The pricing like a new release fucking AAA game or some shit. Oh yeah, that'll be plenty. I think. Oh, in fact, no, it'd be a bit short, wouldn't it? It'd be a bit short. When you lazy squid fuck. I'm 10 short. 10, okay. The flashbang. Cambridge account isn't that bad. Mate's going there to the phosphates like 200 a week for a catered in suite double bedroom. That's more the accommodation. I'm not talking the accommodation, I'm talking the course, the price of the course. The course back when I went for it was in 2004, 2005. And the course alone, which was only like I think it was a 3-year course, was 12,000. I think that was a year for the course. And then if I went to Hallam for the same course, it was like 4,000 a year. Obviously, just because you're going to get better professors down at Cambridge. And obviously having Cambridge on your CV is going to raise a lot of eyebrows. You're going to be like, oh, you're educated at Cambridge. You know, it's a fuckload. So it was really, really fucking expensive. Also at the time, it was they were the first 4 universities in England to actually have that course. Because that course just came out that year. So obviously marketed it really fucking high. Courses have a peak of 9,250 a year and you were given that as a loan by default. Fucking hell, one of mine were higher than that one. I know you can get a student loan that you technically don't have to pay back until you're earning so much money or whatever, but I just didn't want to be in debt for something like that. I really didn't. I've never been in debt my entire life. The closest I came to it at one point is I had £100 in my account. And then I built that from £100 back to over 4,000. And that 4,000 I'm now eating my way through while I do YouTube. While I try and get my business idea rolling. But I've never actually been in debt. I've been close to it, but never been in debt. I did struggle a bit during COVID. Obviously because the company I'm working for, Currys, and Currys pay shit because they pay minimum wage. They've always paid shit though. A lot of companies are like them. They're not unique in that regard. The only good thing about minimum wages, you know that the job is as throwaway as a piece of tissue paper. Because you can get any other job in England and get the same amount of money or more. When you're at rock bottom, you can't go any lower. You can only go higher. So that's what you've got to look at is, you ain't got to worry about going any lower. Oh God. I really don't want to go to March. Fuck, what good experimentation we have to risk it. My comment Surrey is 310 a week, but my mate in London, School of Economics, he's paying 450 a week. But that's central London. Yeah, the closer you get to the capital, the dearer things get. It's the same with every country on the planet. The creatures are already there. Jesus. Your rent's 400 a month. My rent used to be 400 a month about 3 years ago. It was actually more like 450. My rent is now 595. And I live in northern England. I don't live near London. And that's in what they consider a 2-bedroom apartment. But one of the bedrooms is the room you see that I'm in now. And it ain't got much room. This is my hand here. My other hand. That's that one. That's how far I need to reach to hit the other wall. Barely any space at all. Well, apparently anything that can fit a bed in it, even a single bed, that's a separate room to your living room, bathroom or toilet, is apparently considered a bedroom. £550? No, 595. I wish it were 550. Nearly €700. Probably. Would not surprise me. England's been in a bad state for the primary reason of that when people vote, a lot of people are fucking retards. And they don't read the pamphlets of the government parties, and a lot of people have been voting Conservative for the last 14 years. All we've had is Conservatives, and Conservatives don't hide the fact they support the rich people. They support rich and upper class, is how they label it. They don't support working class and poor people. They don't care about you. They might make public statements saying they do, but their policies and their pamphlets say they don't. And a lot of people have been voting them, and it's driven the economy the country and the economy into a shit state. And now we've got Labour in power. Labour can start to fix it, but it's going to take longer than 5 years for Labour to fix it. So Labour need to be voted in again and again for the next 3 or 4 elections. So they need a good 15-20 years to undo the damage that the Conservatives have done. Because Labour is the only party really worth voting for that will support working class people. It's always been the same with Conservatives. If the Conservative Party had the people who would actually vote for them, it'd be about 15 to 20% of England at a max, and that's me being generous. And that means with 80% of the votes going elsewhere, they'd never ever be in power. But because they somehow can globalize another 20 to 25% of people into voting for them, they can sometimes end up with a majority. and they get long terms in power. Now, me personally, I hope to not see the Conservatives in power for the rest of my lifetime. I hope they never get re-elected. Every time they get elected into power, the country goes to shit. And then Labour have got to come in and pick up the pieces and put it back together. And then for some, what the hell's going on here? And then as Labour is fixing the country and getting it back together, sometimes Conservatives will get re-voted into power. I don't know how, I don't know why. They're chasing me, fuck it about. I hate that fucking fox thing. It seems to spawn all the time. Can't they just make it so it can spawn on forest worlds and leave the goddamn desert worlds alone? Yeah, it's weird. It's sometimes probably because these campaigns, because they get money given to them by rich people, rich parties, because they give the rich tax breaks. They'll sometimes have like a good promotional campaign, so they'll make them look better than what they actually are, and that's basically what happens. And then they get in power, and they're the same thing they've always done. They're like, oh, we're paying more tax, but the rich are getting a tax break of 50p in, I don't know, in every £100 or something, or every £10 or something. They get money back, and it's like, do they need that money back? Can they not afford to pay it? I mean, they're already earning upwards of fucking 70,000 a year. But I mean, personally, if it were me who's deciding what government you can have in the party, a party like the Conservatives and like the new version of Brexit, which is now called I think it's called the National Reform or something, Reform UK or some crap, they wouldn't even be able to exist. Not that they couldn't get in power, they just wouldn't exist. They would have to have on their pamphlet at least 5 things that benefit working class and poor people. At least 5 things. And the one thing they can't do is give the rich tax breaks. It's like rich people don't need a tax break. They're already rich. They can afford to pay their fucking taxes. They don't need money back. They've already got ample. When you've got like an average person at 70 grand, and say a minimum wage person earns maybe, say, 13, 14 grand a year. That's how disgusting the disparity is. So one person earning 70 grand can earn the same money as something like, 5 or 6 others that are earning 13,000. That's not right. It's not. Now, some rich people might argue, oh, well, I've got a good job, I'm well educated, so I should have to pay more tax. No, you earn more tax because you earn more money. That's how the systems work. So it's always worked. And also, some of the people that are working these minimum wage jobs are extremely well educated. What kind of place is that for a turret? What is this? Huh. Some of the people who work these minimum wage jobs are extremely well educated. They just haven't been given the chance in a job interview to actually get a job that they want. Example, I've got a friend of mine. He works at Tesco's as a shelf stacker, and he's got a bachelor's degree. It's one of the best degrees you can get on the face of the planet. He's more educated than most of the rich people. They automatically assume because people don't have a lot of money or whatever that they're not intelligent. Even like me, a college graduate, right? I'm smarter than 60% of the planet, or 60% of Europe, or England. Because the majority of people don't get into college. If you're like Ethan, who's passed his course and he's heading to uni, Ethan passes his uni course, he'll be in the top like 20% of people on the planet in terms of like IQ and education, if he passes his courses. Because then you've got people who say pass secondary school, but then they don't go to college or university. You've got college dropouts who don't complete their college course. You've got college graduates like me who did. You've then got university dropouts who didn't complete the university course. And then you've got university graduates who did. And then you've obviously got people who go back sometimes and earn multiple degrees. They're obviously like your top 1 or 2%. They're extremely intelligent people. Most people are happy to just get 1 degree. Never mind get 2 or 3. Especially when in some cases like a medical license, medical degree, might take 10 years to earn and put you like 150,000 in debt. I don't know how Jamie kills these fucking things. I can hear screaming. It's getting baboon hawked. Where did I put my stuff? It's here. Fuck's sake. Can you ever see in that stuff? Like, it's so unforgiving that against 1 player. It really is. Even against 2 players it's bad. But against 1 player it's just fucking hell. It's like I've got a monster that's going to camp out behind my ship. Or if they move the weeds, it sometimes spawns in front of the entrance. So it's either going to be at your ship or at the entrance when you're trying to get in and out with your loot. Either way, it's in a bad location. I think they should make it so it can only spawn on jungle planets. That's where most of the foliage is. Why would you have foliage on a fucking desert planet? Well, we're fucked either way. Fucking Christ. Val March and fucking Adamants. God. I watched a film the other day. An older film as well. Have you ever watched US Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones? Or heard of it? It's a good film. Really good film. I was watching that, and towards the start of the film, one of the main characters in it, Wesley Snipes, who plays like a former government agent, he gets injured in like a car accident, and his missus, his girlfriend, comes and bails him out, and is paying cash to basically bail him out, or like bail him out to pay for his medical bills because he got I think a broken wrist and hurt his neck. And she came and bailed him out, got him out of hospital, paid for his medical bill. And she said, with the taxes that we pay, medical bills should be free, or like medical treatment should be free. And that was back then when that film was made. And that's Americans, obviously, that was a line created by one of the writers or the director. And then obviously the actress seen it. And even the woman responds to her, goes, "You've got my vote, honey." He goes, I think it's ridiculous. And yet all they've done since then is increase the cost of their medical bills. That's why I think it's so fortunate that we live in England. Because if every country you had to pay for medical bills, and it was the cost of America, no one would have any money. Or you'd have to do what Jamie's town did. Jamie's hometown makes me sad. They basically got to... if anyone gets injured, if it's not like a life-threatening injury, they basically don't go to the hospital, they just deal with the injury. And they like suffer the injury because they can't afford to go to the hospital. Because they'll be in debt like the rest of their life. It's disgusting. So unless they've got something like a terminal illness or a life-threatening injury, they don't go to the hospital. They just put up with it and let it heal on its own. It's like that. That's so bad when your own people are afraid to go to your medical institutions for fear of being in debt and not able to afford the cost. That's not how that should be. All like public amenities should be owned by the government. They shouldn't be owned by private greedy corporations. So like anything like your healthcare, public transport, train, trams, all of that should all be controlled by the government. Because the government we've got in charge now, they're looking to take over the bus and train service again. Our train service has now been striking for over 2 years. They strike almost every fucking month. At this point, there's no point having a train service, because they're a complete waste of fucking time. Yeah, get off my... God damn it. fucking thing. I think it's also a lot of like, oh shit. No! Bugger. I think it's also like the, film with Hugo Weaving in, playing as like a Guy Fawkes type. See, he plays it like a Guy Fawkes type guy. In V. And one of the things in the movie that he said, because the time, that, again, it was the Conservative Party running the country, funnily enough, in that film. He said people shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. End of the day, you look at like France, and when their government had issues, they deposed and killed a lot of their nobles. They had the French Revolution. Now, obviously, some of those nobles were innocent people. They didn't deserve to die. But with how poorly the French people were being treated, driven into poverty, unable to afford basic food and stuff like that, you can understand why it happens. When you've got governments that are that bad that just don't care about the working class and the poor people, where 80-85% of your nation, without us you've got no country. So you got to look at. It's like if they want to make an island full of rich people, go on your tiny little island with your super small population. But considering how lazy a lot of rich people are, how they need like valets and stuff like that, who do you think those people are? They're your working class poor people. You need those to do all that stuff for you. You know, you can't do it all by yourself, can you? Sometimes I hate being right, and sometimes I really, really enjoy it. And I don't know which is worse. Hello? What are you doing, Nicodemus? You woke up, been sleeping. Been having those big sleeps. I'm gonna die. Definitely. I'm surprised I got 300 to be fair, yeah. Well, have you seen that battle that I posted in Thingy Shreef in Warhammer chat and Discord? Oh my god. That was the scariest battle I've ever had to fight, ever. Because I've never had to deal with the Nemesis Crown before.
As you have not met the profit quota, your performance has been deemed below standard. Welcome to our disciplinary process.
What have we got on the worlds? All clear. Good. Better not be any goddamn fucking fox things. Don't want to see a single goddamn red bush. Lovely. It's great as well when he's put weed killer in to get rid of the weeds that spawn the fox things. But when your weed killer, it takes the weed killer to remove one bush, almost the entire canister. When you've got a field out back of like 50 fucking bushes or more, it's like, well, you're gonna have to burn through hundreds, if not a few thousand in currency to get rid of all the bushes. Can I climb up through this? That's great. So you spawned a rock on the main ladder. Genius. Definitely needs to fix out his spawn metric for this game. What key? An engine. Hang about. We've got mansion interior on experimentation. That's quite rare. The key there. If there's a mansion though, that doesn't mean we can get mimics. Although you can get mimics, I suppose, on the normal one if a mask spawns. What the hell was that? There's not much loot though, which is surprising. I thought there'd be a lot more loot. Well, I can't wait for some Last Epoch on Sunday as well, Sharif. I'm looking forward to that again. Now I know what to do with those like echo type things, I think they're called, the things you do at the end. Fucking tool lock doors, are you kidding me? All locked? Wow. Okay. Leave those keys there, I'll use them on the way back. I just watched that Halloween Ends. Well, they definitely put finality on Michael Myers, I'll tell you that. Ain't gonna spoil it for no one. But they definitely gave it some finality. Although I suppose technically that once for Jason when Jason went to hell but then came back. There's 2 keys. Let's go and lock some doors. Oh shit. A vent's open. Two flashbangs? What the fuck? Is this place raided by a SWAT team? Oh! Big lizard. Not in there. Climb it. Close that fucking thing. Get on that ways a bit, doesn't it? Oh, worm spawned. Remember when I first started playing this, I had no idea how to deal with worms. I was like, how the fucking hell do I avoid them? You can't kill it, it's size of a building. And it just comes out of the ground and just devours you. No red leaves, I like it. And no giant rock this time. Marvellous. Oh. I can hear a trap. Bless you. Thank you, Sharif. Is that it? Oh god, because there's only a door. K9, of course it's called K9. What's up? What are you doing? Come at him. The fuck? Gotta find that fucking valve. There we go. Okay. I've got everything there. I'm not sure as well on Sunday if to just play my Necromancer or to mix and match and do both. I might do my Warpath Sentinel and Necromancer. Might play a bit of both from. Definitely having an easier time with Necromancer though than my Sentinel. My Sentinel, it is a good deal harder. I mean, I'd assume the Sentinel's obviously going to scale better with gear, where the gear's going to be less effective on the Necromancer because it's your minions that are doing basically all the work. I don't understand as well why it took him the devs for Diablo 4 so long to clack on that people wanted minions for Necromancer. And it's like, it's beyond me. It's like you are ARPG developers. It's like you've already got a mage class in the game that's basically ranger spells. You've got a druid in the game who's basically another range class with different spells, unless they choose the animal form spec. And you want to then have Necromancer, where the minions are weak as shit and can't do anything. There's basically then going to be another spellcaster with even different spells. It's like, how many spellcasters do you want? Just like the Necromancers in the game have a full minion build. They want to summon and have their own army, and a full laser boy mode engaged. They want the minions to work for them. The minions should, through the course of like the skills, be able to be powerhouses that can beat any boss. For them it might seem, oh, that's a bit boring. I think the developers sometimes put their own opinions and their own prejudice into the game. And it's like, it doesn't matter what you think, it matters what we think, the paying customers, the ones who keep you in a job. It's like, don't you basically try and say... It's like that guy on that developer interview, when a guy asked him about Vanilla WoW, and he said, oh, you think that you want that, but you really don't. Who's he to tell someone what they think? It's like, fucking hell, alright, God, calm down. You think you want that, but you don't. It's not like someone saying, oh, I want a bullet to my head. You think you want that, but you don't. Well, a bullet to your head, no, you probably don't. But what you want in a computer game, you probably do, because you know what you like and don't like. Nobody wants a bullet to the head unless they're suicidal. Feed you both rapscallions. Yes. You should just come at this. You know, not if I'm trying to eat. You know your food. Just grab me a drink. Keep my hydration up as Lord Shrave commands. think you do, but you don't. People end up swarming Classic like it was a piece of cheese. It's really, yeah, it's weird when a developer says that. And it's like, all that says to me is, it's that they don't want to do the job. They don't want to do it unless they know they can profit from it. And when it came down to like... when it came down to them to the big Classic server that was drawing away a large portion of their player base, and I remember the poor guy in question got chased for like cease and desist by Blizzard, and then they announced, which flavour ice cream do you like? Well, I like vanilla, and then everyone cheered, and it's like, but yet at the previous fucking BlizzCon like a year or two ago, you said you think you want that but you don't. Well, you've changed your fucking tune suddenly, haven't you? I like how that fucking works. That toxic twat of a developer. You think you do, but you don't. But you know what? I think I know what's best for you. Do you now? You know what I want in my computer games. I love how that goes. Some people, I swear. Oh. No! Fucking quicksand. Or quick mud in this case. I just lost all my loot. This is not going well today, Sharif. Some days think that they know what people want, but the majority of the time they've got no idea why people even play their games. That's it, it's really weird. It's like, example is, a big one that even I don't understand myself personally. Why do people still play GTA 5? Right? It's been completed to fucking death. Alright, it's an open world game, so's Skyrim. So's Fallout. So's any of the Far Cries. They're on massive open world games. Why aren't people still playing them? Because they've got multiplayer servers and they can have an RP element to it. That is the only reason GTA 5 is still doing big on things like Twitch and stuff. Why it's still got a community. If GTA 5 was a single player experience, like Fallout, Skyrim, Far Cry's, it'd be just as dead. No one would be fucking playing it. It's only because they've got multiplayer options via their servers. And a lot of the devs have said they don't understand why people play their game in this way. Because they design it for this. It doesn't matter what they design it for. Other people can make it how they want to for their sort of game. I think that's the thing is sometimes is developers want you to play the game the way they intended. If that was the case, everyone would play the game the same way.
Welcome to our disciplinary
It doesn't happen.
process.
Example to it. This is a different extent. This is in a weird way, but it's like two things that used to happen. One in Warhammer 2 and one now in Warhammer 3. I was talking to Sol about it the other day in on I think Sunday's or last Friday's stream. Something they used to do in Warhammer 2 were you could sack a town and you could keep sacking the town every single turn. And what this would do is it'd get your units more experience, but it'd rank up your lords and heroes. So you could get like a level 30 lord by like turn fucking 30 or turn 40 or something. So you've got this really high level character really early in the game. So in single combat, it could kill any other legendary lord because they're going to be nowhere near your level. And you'd also got most of the skills on your bar completed. So the army then benefited from like your red trip grades. You've got all your best magical spells. You know, it wouldn't exploit, I suppose, but it were like cheese. It were like exploity, but it was cheese. It was a way to game the system to get levels faster for your heroes and lords. In Warhammer 3 you can't do that, because now it's based on the bigger the battle, the more experience you get. So the new way they do it now is, what Sol mentioned the other day, is a level 20 army, a 20 stack army, will come across and take a town or a city. You take it from them, so the first fight will be really hard. Because you might have a 20 stack, you might not. And your lord and your heroes are going to be at the lowest level they can probably be at. You then take it off them and trade it to someone nearby, but who's an enemy of that faction. You then go back to your town or city. They then build up another army in 2 or 3 turns, because they can recruit, I think, 8 units a turn in Legendary. They'll come back and retake that town or city. You then take it from them again. It's a longer process than the one in Warhammer 2 where you just kept sacking it, which was bullshit. And obviously you've got a hard fight against a 20 stack army. But as your heroes and lords keep levelling up and keep getting stronger, that fight is going to get easier and easier every single time. Because you're making your characters stronger. And that's not a way the devs intended you to play the game, but it is a way you can play the game. And then you can do that to get super high characters really early on, making your mid to late game really, really easy. Because your characters will carry you through some fights. And depending on who the legendary lord is, some of them, if they get high enough levels, are one-man doom stacks. They'll just walk through armies solo. Especially considering what the AI recruits. The AI doesn't really recruit, like, massively OP armies. Maybe for auto-resolve, but they don't recruit massively OP armies. You might sometimes get like a half doom stack where they've got like 10 single entities. Was that a worm that had spawned already? I just see a worm on the way in. But yes, I think even the developers don't understand sometimes why some games continue to exist long after they were done. Example, like I didn't realise until that guy mentioned it with a stream about like Team Fortress 2. And into it now that Valve are bringing out another game that's Fallout and Team Fortress-esque called is it Deadlock or something? Or something like that. Deadlock, Shocklock, I don't fucking know. Oh god, the main entrance is right here. It's things like that. It's just some games are going to withstand the test of time, and some aren't. And then you've got some new games that are coming out that have got completely toxic practices. Like you've got that game that's come out recently now, and it's got it's massively pay to win, but it's not only pay to win, it's like pay to kill, because the developers have a process where they charge you per bullet, or basically you're paying per bullet, and it's like an extraction shooter. Now I don't play extraction shooters. I don't think I've ever even played an extraction shooter. Basically pay to kill, yeah. It's a weird take on it, because obviously Tarkov's recently done that scumbag thing with their like $250 pack, whatever it is. But I don't see the appeal in those games. I think those games personally are shit. But then again, I don't like Battle Royales either. I played one Battle Royale on stream once for 3 hours, and that was Apex Legends. And that's also shit. I don't like any of those types of games. I think they're crap. I do. Now, a lot of people still play Fortnite. I wonder why, because it's targeted at kids. The majority of people playing that game are probably going to be 14 or younger. I'd put good money on it. The majority of people playing that game are not going to be adults. And it's the only kid-friendly graphic Battle Royale game. All the other Battle Royale games are more serious graphics and serious toned. So a lot of, like, your more cautious parents aren't going to buy those games for their kids. So they're going to get Fortnite. Sounds like the players are like Warhammer 40k assassins. They get issued one bullet to take down their target. That's actually not always true. It depends on the type of assassin. Because there are 4 different types of assassins. And only one of them uses a gun. And they don't always get given one bullet either. Sometimes they get given one clip. But usually, because of where they have to go for the assassination targets, sometimes all they're going to get is one shot. So that's why sometimes they're given like one clip or one bullet. It's usually a clip. And a clip will carry like 7 to 10 rounds based on the sniper rifle in question. We don't talk about Eversaws, those guys are nuts. Not just Eversaws, there's 4 different types. Because there's the melee assassin, there's the anti-psychic assassin, who's basically psychic immune. Fucking hell. And there's another melee assassin, but where one of them is stealth based, one of them basically just goes straight for you. He's more, I think it's where the Eversaw is melee and goes for single targets. One of them is like a unit killer. So this guy's got more like AoE type range attacks, AoE type melee attacks. So he's more like fucking Conan with his fucking battle axe. It's just going to take out the entire like front line sort of thing. The anti-psycho one's pretty fun though, because the funny thing is, I remember some of them being recruited from the book with Grigor Eisenhorn, because he found these people. They call them as I think one of the things they're referred to as untouchables, and basically they're a void presence on the psychic spectrum. So if you imagine that every living thing has like a psychic, like a light, kind of like a candle light. You've got your regular people, and then your psychers obviously more prone to being possessed because they're like a flame in the darkness, like where a regular person's like a shadow. These other ones, these other people that are basically anti-psychers, they're like a void. They can't be possessed under any circumstances because they are null in the void. The demons actively avoid them. They're scared shitless of them. And anyone in their proximity is immune to any psychic attacks, and any psychers in their vicinity can't use any psychic powers because these guys are just null void in the warp. Imagine being that fucking terrifying with your psychic signature because you don't have one, that demons are scared of you and demons avoid you. Sisters of Silence. I don't know the exact names, I can't remember, but I remember Grigor set up an organisation of men and women who were basically just voiding the warp. And they started using them as an asset against psychers. So whenever they came across like a Alpha Plus psyker that was basically like mind controlling entire towns and using them as like mindless puppets for his army, they'd send in some of these people who are like a void in the warp, and anyone that came near them, they'd be then cut off from the psyker and they'd regain their like control of their mind, and basically they'd walk straight in there and just kill the psyker, because a psyker can fight like a regular human. He's no stronger or tougher. But when he can't use his psychic powers, he's basically fucked. So they just walk up and are like, yeah, get fucked. Just dead. Yeah, get knifed. And the weird thing is the natural ability they have something similar technology-wise for Space Marines and Sisters of Battle. Because inside their helmets they have something called a psi dampener. And they have it's sometimes in the helmet, sometimes actually implanted a chip in their brain. And it's basically so Space Marines can't be controlled or taken over by enemy psychers. So they're highly resistant to it anyway, being they're a fucking Astarte. But they have these psi dampeners in case they get like truly powerful psychers like Alpha Plus. They nullify psychic abilities completely. Yeah, they were really cool. Really, the weird thing is, though, and I feel sorry for these people, because the first one that he met was called Bequin. Bequin was basically she was like a hooker, but she'd had a really hard life, and because she's null in the void, because she's the opposite of like a regular person sort of thing. A normal person could be possessed if a demon can find them, but because they're like shadows in the darkness, they're almost impossible to find, unless they've got like a weakness, a vulnerability that allows a demon to find them. Same with psychers. Psychers can be found, but psychers can also shield themselves against demons. But when he found this girl, because they're voiding the warp, they have like really negative emotions around them. So a lot of people dislike them for no reason. A psyker being near them is actually painful. They don't like being near them because they're completely cut off from the warp, the ability to use their psychic powers. But normal people aren't affected by it physically. They just don't like these people. It's almost like a personality clash, but it's something they can't even control because it's built into their body. They were just born with this gift. Now a lot of them would class it as a curse. Me personally, I'd fucking love that. The ability to never be possessed by a demon, and that psychers can't hurt you, so you haven't got to dance to their fucking tune. That'd be fucking ridiculous. Because the most powerful psychic in existence is the Emperor. And the Emperor can't even touch them. Weird thing is with the Emperor as well, that means the Emperor's actually technically a librarian. Because they're the psych version of Space Marines. There are the Emperor's a Chaos God. He just used the warp a bit differently than others. He's not a Chaos God, no. He's just the first Primarch. But because the Emperor basically suffered those fatal wounds at the hands of Horus, and he sat on his throne, the throne isn't keeping him alive like people think. His body on the throne is a skeleton. He's long dead. What the throne's doing, kind of think like Lord Croak in Warhammer Fantasy. So Lord Croak's on his floating fucking thing that he's got, and he's tethered his spirit to his body. Basically, the throne on Terra he's tethered his own spirit to his body on the throne. And because he's that powerful psychically, they take psychers to the Black Tower. The Emperor basically feeds on them. He feeds on their essence. Any rogue psychers that are taken to the Black Tower are food for the Emperor. He basically eats the psycher's essence. And that's why his light in the warp is so bright. Demons can't possess him. He's far too powerful for a demon to possess. They basically they kind of use the Emperor kind of like the North Star. They use him to guide themselves through the warp. He's a static point in the warp, and they use that to navigate. And that's how the astromancers navigate, using the Emperor's light as a way to go. Because there was years called the Dark Age, where the Emperor basically had a headache. He had a headache for something like 400 years. And because of that, loads of Imperial worlds were cut off and couldn't get reinforced, because no one could travel through the warp. So the worlds were all basically standing by themselves. They could only fly to like nearby systems with like normal, sublight engines. They couldn't actually enter the warp because they had no idea where to go. So the Emperor's like, oh, I got a migraine, quick, get me a god tier ibuprofen or paracetamol. It's like, oh, it's going to take fucking years to calm this bastard down. And it's like, all of a sudden, like, shit, we can't contact any of the worlds. So after he recovered from his headache, they had to basically start reclaiming worlds and recontacting worlds and making sure they were okay. And so had been taken over by like fucking Tyranids and by Dark Eldar coming out the fucking the webway, and fucking orcs and stuff on nearby planets. Emperor could get reborn if they would stop the Golden Throne, but they don't know how he could come back. I don't think he can come back physically, no. I mean, in theory, it could do what one of the Saints did. One of the Saints in the Gaunt's Ghost series, she came back, and what she did is she had a chosen vessel. And when the person that she was basically was going to be like her vessel died, she died naturally. I think she got run into by a vehicle that killed her. The Saint then was able to possess her body, heal the wound, and come back in the vessel. So upon their death, they can re-emerge. Now there is the rumour the Emperor has a true pure-born son, but he's a regular human. But they don't know who he is. He would have psychic powers, but they don't know who he is. I don't think even he knows he's the Emperor's son. But if they were able to find him, the Emperor could, in theory, once he dies of whatever means, because I don't think they can kill him. They're not meant to kill him. He's meant to just die of whatever means it is, like old age, disease, combat, whatever. They can't like physically just take his life. The Emperor then can basically come back through his son's body. He'd re-inhabit his body. It's kind of like what Sigmar did with Karl Franz. It's kind of like that. So he could inhabit his son's body, because he's a biological tether. His son wouldn't be back, his son's spirit would go into the afterlife or whatever. He'd heal whatever wound he'd taken. And the theory is that because the Emperor's so powerful, if he dies of old age, he'd reset his age to an age more appropriate so the Emperor can then fight in battle. But then the Emperor would then be inside the body of a human with all his psychic powers, but would be able to be combat efficient again. But like when that Saint came back, that Saint were an absolute beast in combat. So although she were in some like 17-year-old girl, she were kicking ass. She were like going up to like Chaos Baneblades and like ripping open the fucking hull and fucking chucking a plasma grenade inside. So although they've come back in a human body, they've got superhuman abilities. So the Emperor might come back in a regular human body, be able to like knock a fucking space marine flying across the room. Like, don't fuck with me. Like, I am your god Emperor, bow down, maggot. That'd be pretty funny though to see that. A regular size like 6 foot human knocking a 10-foot space marine across the fucking room. Putting a dent in his armour. That'd be fucking awesome. Oh, I've got 0 days. Oh, God. I mean, the reason I love Warhammer 3 so much is I get to play the game in fantasy in the universe that I know before the writers decided to fuck it up. Because when the writers had the idea of... We knew Arkham was probably going to win and achieve the end times. But what I thought was going to happen, which would have probably made more sense... I thought Arkham was just going to basically become the fifth Chaos God, the Chaos God of Undivided, on the planet. And then an even more powerful champion would have to rise up to defeat him. So initially I thought it'd be like Malekith, if he got all the 8 laws of magic inside him. I'd have to basically fight against him. And then you could obviously use Arkham as like a legendary lord. But they were like, oh no, Arkham's going to become the 5th Chaos God, but then he basically detonates the entire planet. And it's like, what? And then all of a sudden then, rather than it being fighting on the world, because the world's been destroyed, you're now fighting in the afterlives of all the respective factions. But the afterlives would be unassailable. They wouldn't be reachable. You wouldn't be able to have other afterlives mix into them. That wouldn't make any sense. The gods ensure their afterlives are secure. Otherwise the Chaos Gods would have done that as soon as they arrived. So it's completely retarded. And if they're having fights in afterlives as well, it means literally anyone that's died in the past can come back. And how many terrifying heroes that both good and bad sides have had that can come back and fight? There's a lot. Some of those old school heroes didn't take any shit from no one. They'd have spat in the eye of a god if they had the chance. I know what you were saying the other day as well, Strafe, about the 40k in the Star Wars game. The problem is, I mean, I don't know if you've played much 40k on tabletop and stuff like that. Melee armies and melee units are very, very sparse for the most part, especially effective ones. You can have some, like you can run like an all-orc truck army, where the trucks basically gun it into combat and try and attack in like 1 or 2 turns. You can have a Space Marine Assault Marine army, where it's all melee based and they've got the jetpacks to move faster across the field. But the enemy's going to get at least like 1 turn in games terms to shoot at you. And in terms of like a computer game, you're not going to get into combat instantly. They're going to be able to get, you know, some firing at you. There's deep strike in Terminator as well, but obviously when you deep strike in the game, you can't charge after you deep strike. So they can deep strike right in the middle of the enemy army, but then you're stood there. Now Terminators obviously come equipped with guns as well. They're not just fully melee based, unless they take like a force shield for like more protection. But I don't think 40k and Star Wars will work. Star Wars definitely won't work because they don't have anything like the 40k units do. They're just going to get shot by lasers to shit. It's basically going to be who's got bigger guns and who's got more of them is going to win the fight. That's what it's basically going to come down to. It's just going to basically be a gun war. It's going to be like, right, you deploy your firing line, I'm going to deploy my firing line, and we shoot at each other. It'd be boring as fuck. It really would. I would try and design a melee army, either from Tyranids or Khorne Chaos Space Marines. Maybe even some Loyalist Space Marines. But I don't think it would work. I don't. Not if they can like have their best units in a firing line. I mean, you look at like Tau. Tau pretty much only have range units. They've got the Kroot, whatever they're called, for their melee units, and they're shit. They're crap. It could work, but not in the same sense of fantasy. The base is heavily modified to fit. Yeah, fantasy is more based in like medieval ages, where although you could have archers, crossbowmen, and like your rudimentary guns, you can still make a melee armor with like cavalry camouflaging units work. You can make that still work. In the future, when you've got laser guns, you've got clips that are like almost inexhaustible. You've got assault cannons on spacemen rip through fucking tanks and lightly armoured vehicles. Fucking tanks can fight around and take out a small town. You know, you're not charging into that and making it to the enemy. So they'd have to design some way. Or they'd have to put something in like the Zinch barrier, but for every fucking melee unit in the game. Otherwise, you're not making it there. Your armor's going to get taken apart every single time. It'd require some heavy rebalancing. I've seen Dark Eldar Reaver armies. I had to play this with my Tyranids, and I was the only second Tyranid player to beat Jamie's army. I trained Jamie, I taught him everything he knows, but he built this proper dirty Dark Eldar army from this list online, and I beat him when I played him the second time with my all melee Tyranid army. Oh! That's right, motherfucker. Fucking thing. Tau, there is a meme of Tau going to melee. Tau aren't melee. I mean, not being funny, the basic Tau warriors, if you've read like Tau lore, they're not even trained in melee for the most part. All they've done is given like a 40k version of a bayonet they can attach to the end of their las rifle. They let the Kroot and the Kroot type units do their fighting for them, because they're a group of species working together for survival. And Tau warriors aren't good in combat. An average Tau warrior is not even as strong as an average human, like an Imperial Guard. They have no chance against Space Marine. Something like that in that nature. Now, one thing that I do like, which is basically like 40k's version of Undead, is Necrons. Because Necrons are like Terminators. When they like have the world be back, oh, they could be so cool. Oh, I love the idea of an army of them bastards. Although they didn't have very good melee armies, so I generally gravitated towards either Khorne Chaos Space Marines or Tyranids, because Tyranids could make all melee armies, and they were fast attacking, so they could get there really quickly, and you could have certain units like Lictors try and tie up enemy units. And then a Broodlord leading some Gene Stealers. Tactical thinking to a degree somewhat, but it's more their firepower. Because other races can have just as good tactical thinking, but other races can't have as good firepower. The Tau firepower is extremely good. It's as one of the things as well, that the fact that Tau are alive, they're very, very lucky. Very lucky. Because one of the main tendrils of High Fleet Kraken was heading towards the Tau world, while they were like a up and coming species, and it got blocked by a massive warp storm. The warp storm stopped the main tendril of High Fleet Kraken getting to the Tau world. Otherwise, the Tau wouldn't even exist. They'd have been wiped out before they got started, along with the Kroot. So the fact they're even alive is extraordinarily lucky. I mean, when they brought out the latest iteration, it's not the new one now, it was at the time. When they brought out the revamped codex for Tyranids, which I was extremely annoyed at, where the guy who wrote it, he was fucking a proper knobhead. It basically took away the Tyranids' ability to be a full melee faction. Even I had to take some range units. I had to take a unit of basically Hive Guard that had guns to bring down some vehicles, because of Jamie's fucking Dark Eldar army. And I had to take some Zoanthropes, which are basically, they have 2 psychic attacks. One that's a blast and can hit a unit with a small template, and basically I can dissolve Space Marines. Or the other one that's a direct beam, but it's strength 10 AP 1, and that was able to take out vehicles. And basically I had to take those in my army, purely because a full melee army no longer worked, because he nerfed the shit out of us, because he changed how the synaptic web worked on the battlefield. It used to be that anything inside the synapse web was immune to psychology, so you didn't need to take any leadership tests, and you were immune to instant death if you were being hit by a weapon like twice the strength of your toughness, which made Tyranid warriors very viable, because they also were a synapse unit, and they could take rending claws, which means on a 6 you could ignore armour. When he changed it so you're no longer immune to instant death, nobody used Tyranid warriors anymore. And they're like, oh, I wonder why that is. Well, because you've made it so they can be killed by strength 8 attack, which, I'm not being funny, are everywhere in every fucking army. If a Lehman Russ battle tank drops its main cannon on you, it's strength 8 on the entire large 5-inch template for everything underneath it. So your expensive unit of Tyranid warriors, gone in one attack. All he's got to do is roll 2s or more to kill you. You're losing a 3 wound unit. Because I used to take groups of 3, so I had 9 wounds across them. But I could lose an entire unit to 1 shell. And my unit of Tyranid warriors was worth more than his Lehman Russ tank. It's like, how does that make any sense? How is that fair? So some knobhead at Games Workshop rewrites my fucking codex, and my army's no longer viable. Hope it brings you just Dark Tide, but that happens. I think that'd be a bit overkill. Because I'm not being funny, those guys that you're playing in Dark Tide won't do shit against Gene Stealers. Especially not against a Broodlord. A Broodlord are like fucking master assassins. They were so lethal at killing like characters and stuff. I remember when the first Hive Fleet Behemoth showed up, and the presence of Gene Stealers is like they're like shock troops. They're like their version of like Terminators. And they had a moon near Terra called Yungal or something, or Magal, and it had a variant of the Gene Stealer species there. And when they found out Gene Stealers were a Tyranid bioorganism, they'd been launched just thousands of years into space, they sent the Salamander Space Marine chapter to come wipe out the Gene Stealers from that moon. Gene Stealers, though, with how they like spread the spore into your body and then like morph the person into this alien organism. Gene Stealers to me are like the aliens from Alien. That's where they've taken that inspiration from. They just look different. But it's like that's their version basically of an alien. But rather than you becoming a full-blown organism, you become a hybrid. So you're like part of look like what you were, and then you've got some like claws and tendrils and shit, and you look a bit different. And that's why they get these gene stealer cults. Because I remember there was a story about one of the planets in the wake of Hive Fleet Leviathan, and the entire planet was taken over by a gene stealer cult. And when the Hive Fleets arrived, they all walked into the biopools to be consumed by the biofleets of their own free will, because they were all gene stealer cultists. Imagine that, an entire planet just fucking walking onto into a biopool to be consumed. It's fucking bad. You think about planets being wiped out wholesale. And yet, Tyranids can sense when Necrons on a world, and they're like, nope, we're avoiding that world. They can beat Necrons, have done many times before. But it's because the Necrons are there. Necrons can't be harvested like biomatter, because they're made out of their like living alloy. And their living alloy they can't make organisms out of. They can't like melt it down and make it anything useful. It's got to be biological. So it's really weird how they avoid them. Tyranid ships are frightening. Things that are far bigger than the Imperium ship. Oh yeah, some of the Hive Fleet ships, yeah, huge. But they don't have the firepower of an Imperium ship, like an Emperor class battleship. But they usually have like a giant maw. They have some sort of like Kraken or crab based maw. And they usually have claws coming off the side. They're basically like the big bads of the Tyranids, where the Hive Tyrant leads them on the ground with the Tyranid Gnome Queens. The Tyranid bioships lead them in space, and they are gargantuan. They just eat everything. Oh yeah, I mean, example is when when a planet's ready to be consumed, it's all put into like a big green reservoir of this what looks like a bioacid, but it's not. And then all they do is send down a big tentacle from space, and it sucks up all this bioorganic material, usually harvested by the is it Terminid? Terminid swarms, the little small fuckers. They basically cleanse the entire planet of anything biological. Obviously the big ones sent down to kill anything they might resist, but then they eat any like leaves, plants, trees, anything like that, and they it all gets harvested, and then when they arrive at the next destination, they turn that bioorganic material into more Tyranids to go and take the next planet. So then they grow, and from that they can create more ships, and bigger ships as well. There is a theory that when we first encountered Hive Fleet Behemoth, that the Tyranids were fleeing from something, from like an uncharted area of space. But it now looks like they're not fleeing from anything, but the main fleet that is yet to arrive is being drawn to the Emperor's psychic power. Because while he feasts on psychers and his mind's getting stronger and stronger, his beacon in the warp is, the Tyranids can sense it, and they're drawn to it. So they're basically... What the fuck is that doing out already? Holy fuck! Tyranids-based moths drawn to the Emperor's light. Apart from in this case, they can be planet-sized moths that want to eat the Emperor's light. They want to rip his body off his throne and devour his skeleton. Can you imagine if a Tyranid Hive fleet ate the Emperor's skeleton? Can you imagine what would happen to that hive, that Tyranid biovessel? If it got that level of psychic power? That's frightening to think of. That'd be like when fucking Agent Smith takes over the Oracle and he becomes a super smith. I wouldn't want to be fighting that. A synaptic web would be like multiple galaxies wide. It'd be horrible. The Chaos Gods would probably be severed from talking to each other. It'd be that strong. Would birth unkillable swarms. I don't think it'd birth unkillable swarms, but the ship itself, the ship in question, would be a top tier first class nightmare. Absolutely. That I don't think would be able to be killed. I think it'd be the kind of ship where as soon as you hit it with like a las cannon or something, or some like battle cannon, it'd regenerate. It'd just knit its wing back together. And then it could probably hit you with a psychic attack that'd sever a ship in half. I mean, imagine if it could do what the special zoanthrope did, that could literally rip souls out of the bodies of the things around it. Imagine if it could launch a psychic attack on an Eldar craft world and rip the souls out of all the Eldar and feed on them. Like a ranged version of the Soul Reaver. So then it can not only feed on your physical mass, it can feed on your spiritual mass. Oh god. Jesters can spawn on this map. That's a mine. I'm not sure if this one's classed as metal or not. I'll have to find out. Hey, Shrafe, here's one for you. What if they bring in either a bigger version of a sightless dog or one of the forest giants into Monster Hunter World in a crossover? That'd be pretty cool. You know, like updated the graphics, made the graphics like Monster Hunter level graphics, but they asked the dev, can we have a forest giant or a sightless dog, but like a big one? It made like Odogron look small. A sightless dog could work. I think a forest giant could work as well. It'd just be humanoid rather than, obviously, animal shaped. I'm surprised they haven't already put a giant into the game, to be fair with you. Some sort of like ravenous fucking tree-based giant thing. In Rise, there already is a monster that's kind of like the giant. Yeah, but no one plays Rise. Rise was shit, weren't it? something that's basically got arms like that. It'd be a change for something in Monster Hunter World. Either that or bring in the Indominus Rex or the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park. I mean, the Indominus Rex with the ability to, like, camouflage, that'd be pretty fucking scary. It could, like, run off from you at certain points and vanish. And then you get into the area it's in, and it might just jump out at you and just uncamouflage, and you'd be like, what the fuck? I could start causing some jump scares. So that's the thing with games like Monster Hunter World. Same as like Dead Space, Dead by Daylight. As much as I don't like the game anymore, and I won't play it ever again. Hiya Joe, how you doing? They have a lot of potential expansion for the future. A hell of a lot. Games like that, it's like, well, what other monsters can you cross over and add in? What other killers can they add in? You know, games like that have a lot of potential. Lucent no Gakuga as invisibilities, that would be just a modified version of that. I don't know what the hell that is. And it's far too difficult to see.
Your handwork is invaluable to the company.
What's this cookie pan worth? Are you playing with the company or by yourself? I am today. Sometimes I play with other people if they're on and they want to jump in. Sometimes I play by myself. Plus, playing it by yourself is the hardest version of the game. You want a challenge? Play this shit by yourself. It's fucking unforgiving. Really difficult. I've got that there. So we can go with these. That makes a lot of sense. I do. I mean, I play games because I play games, buddy. I don't mind if I'm with someone or not. It don't make a difference to me. If people want to join me, they can do sometimes, but I don't mind. I mean, the bulk of my playthroughs on YouTube are all, like, well, single-player games or the single-player experience. And then you get to basically see the game through, I suppose, like, my eyes. Like, what I experience, what my thoughts on them are. Some games are, I'll be honest with you, sometimes fucking disturbing. There we go. It's like a panther with wings and a spiky tail. It's not really the same menacing factor as a Indominus Rex. It's basically a stealth-based fucking T-Rex. That's much more terrifying than a big cat. If I ring it while it's already shown up, he'll eat me. When you're by yourself, you kind of have to stay alive. At least as long as you can. It would be Angelath on steroids with camouflage. Yes. Think of a bigger badger. Words. A bigger, badder Angelath. Or the other one. The what the fuck's it called now? The fucking ecosystem eater. Devil Joe. Old Devil Joe. One of those that can camouflage. What monsters you counted? I mean, I counted all the monsters. Fucking hell. The goddamn vicious dog thing. I've had the mimics. The sightless dog. The giant goddamn worm. I got head humped by a bloody flea. So a big lizard. Luckily I've not encountered any slimes, coil heads, or what's it called today? Slimes, coil heads, or the thumper. I hate the thumper. I've not got Jamie here though. Jamie's my pro. He's my lethal company pro. He can kill anything. Oh, the butler. No, I've not had butler today yet. Or the guy with the scissors. I had him on the previous stream. Butler came fucking walking towards me, then he made this like weird chuckle. And oh fucking hell, the dog's gonna spawn the fox thing. Fucking red plants are here. I hate that fucking thing. Jamie killed a butler and took his knife, and he used his knife to kill a forest giant. I still don't know how he did it, because every time I've tried to kill a giant, it ends badly. But he's just running around with its legs, stabbing it with this fucking Michael Myers length knife, and just kills this fucking forest giant. Swear to God, there's nothing that a guy can't kill, unless it's like unkillable, it's immortal. Fucking mines everywhere in this one. Previous one were turrets, and now it's mines. What the hell? There were two of those, one on top of each other? Alright. If there is two players, it will not kill. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know. Believe me, I keep up to date on all the stuff or the workings of the creatures. Yeah, if there's two players together who won't attack you. It's same as the baboon hawks. If you have the same number of players, or if you outnumber the baboon hawks, they won't attack you. But if they outnumber you, they become aggressive. Then you've also got the cycle that a ghost girl, which, if she starts haunting one of your party, that person's got to stay on the ship, because that's the only place you're safe from her. You've got to make sure the door stays closed, otherwise you're dead. Fucking loot, Zor. God damn. Not had any Bracken jump scare encounters today either. No spiders either, which I'm thankful for. Fucking hate spiders. Both in real life and in game. Oh God, there's no one here. Fucking loot. Best start taking some of this back. There's a fucking right shitload here. Not as much as that goddamn run the one Titan. We fucking got like, what, I think 600 in one run. That were insane, that one were. Not seen too many of the robots lately. Looks like he's toned down the amount of those that can spawn. We've got... Perfect. Perfect. Problem is now my guy is a shit ton. Not a bad haul. Probably got about half what we need, thereabouts. Let's see what we've got available. Right, let's go to ass. Oh no, more of those goddamn plants. Means he might be there on way back. Goddamn killer fox thing. How was that noise? Anyone else hear that noise? Toy cube. Oh, I've got 3 items on me already. Fuck me. Every day we're looting. Stop sign, we'll take that. Take these back, we'll come back for the 2 in a minute. Can't wait for Wilds. The bow trail looked pretty good. Only dual blades lance left. I'm betting to they leave the lance till last. Weren't it though? Some of the ones, weren't it like the lance and the hunting horn were like some of the weakest weapons beforehand, and they need to buff them? Wish I could join, but I'm at my sister's house right now. It's not a problem, brother. As I said, sometimes I just play by myself. I used to stream it most Fridays. But sometimes I stream different games like Last Epoch. I'm streaming that on Sunday. But that's also 4-player co-op. but I like to play a bit of Last Epoch and get my ARPG on, tear some shit up, destroy some waves of monsters, go and kill some big bosses. How you doing the next two, buddy? You alright? Not spoke to you in a bit. And say hello to your sister for me. Hope you're having a good day. Not weak, just underused. HH and Lance, all these pop weapons. I'll be honest with you, Shafe, I think the reason they're underused is, well, one, the hunting horn is a fucking horn. A horn's not a weapon. A horn's usually an instrument. And a lance, well, that is a weapon. It's usually something that you use while you're mounted up on top of a, you know, a creature. And you'll charge in. But even then, knights on horseback with a lance will use it on the initial charge. Once they've impaled a couple of people with the lance, they drop the lance. They then draw their axe, sword, hammer, whatever is their, like, prime weapon. They draw that and use that for the rest of the battle. They don't use the lance the entire time. It's only on the charge. Where things like a big hammer, an axe, a mace, a bow gun, a bow, these are all things that you can see people using. They look cooler. Lances and hunting horns, I mean a horn, I don't even know how the fuck that's in there, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the purpose of a horn. I'm assuming a horn's more for like party combat and for like buffing and debuffing. Otherwise I've got no idea what they're supposed to fucking do. Getting in a bit, but matters for how long you're staying on. Probably not that long today, but I'll probably do a short one. Because I've still got intros to do for all my videos. And I've got to make some, well, other thumbnails from scratch. Near activity. Never mind. That's why. HH is complicated because of the songs you need to play to get the buffs. Can be annoying to manage. Lance just lacks flair. All that's going for it is a big shield. And counters get stale fast. Other weapons are more flashy. Yeah, other weapons are more risk. Like the reason I like the greatsword is if you were going to go up against monsters the size of what we're fighting, you would take something like a giant sword or a giant axe or even a giant halberd. You'd take something that can cause a decent amount of damage to a creature that size. It would take obviously strength and heft to wield it, but if you hit something with a bloody sword or axe that size, you'd be taking off a limb, or at least mauling one to the point where it's unusable. I mean, personally for me, things like the hunting horn and the lance are weapons they could get rid of. They could get rid of them altogether. Just take them out of the game. I mean, I'm not sure if they have something like a halberd in the game. They've got a spear, haven't they? If I'm not mistaken. Some sort of spear. Ain't one of the variants on that looks like a halberd? Insect glaive, and they will never get rid of lance, and they've been around since the beginning. No, I don't know. I know they probably won't get rid of them, but I'm just saying they could, because I don't think it will impact the game that much. As others have said, a lot of people don't play them. They're lacking flair, they lack appeal. I mean, are you really going to take a lance or a hunting horn against a big monster if you're playing it solo? I wouldn't even consider them. They're stupid. Yeah, but what I mean is, right, if put the game part aside a little bit, if you were physically fighting monsters like that in a more real life scenario, would you take a horn? It's not even a weapon. What do you plan on doing? Trying to deafen it? You know what I mean? It's not something that can be used as a weapon. I mean, a lance can technically still be used as a weapon, but you need to be riding something. That's why lances are quite long, they're ungainly, they're hard to use. That's why spears are smaller and lighter, because they function like a lance, but you can use a spear on foot. Where a lance is supposed to be something that you combine it with something else. I mean, me, obviously, I'm a great sword main. I wouldn't have minded trying, like, the big two-handed axe, but I've heard it's not that good. It's a bit more of an arse ache to use. I tried using the big samurai sword thing, but it blitzes your sharpness far too fast for my liking. So, I'm sticking with greatsword, but I'll probably take a bow or a bow gun as a secondary, because I know you can have two weapons in Monster Hunter Wilds. And that's purely so if I... That's purely so if I get something like a flying creature, like a... what's the fucking name? That... Kashala Deol. If I get something like her that spends too much time in the air, far too much time in the air, I can at least do something against it. Because the problem with her is she just takes too long to come to the ground. She spends fucking forever in the air. Fire escape's there. Of course it is. I'll be rocking gun lance and hunting horn and maybe heavy bowgun. The problem with Kashala in the world is that they took away counterplay against it. What used to be in the old games, poise weapons countered his flying and wind barrier stage. Yeah, they need something like that, yeah. If they have something that's going to be in the air a lot of the time, they need a way to bring it down other than the flash things. Because the flash pods don't always work. And even then, I've seen the flash pod wear off and the thing immediately fly back into the air. And it's like, what is the point of these things? I mean, if I could at least, if I could like apply, like, if you could apply like a poison to any weapon, at least then if, when she does land, if you can attack her and do damage to her, you apply your dots, your damaging effect. When she flies back up into the air, the poison's still there, taking damage away. And then that might make her take enough damage where she'll then land on the ground again. And then that would be a better way to do it. I hate it when she just stays up in the air and it's like, fuck's sake, land already. It's like the second phase of Anexia in fucking World of Warcraft, where she just flies in the air and as a melee you can't do shit. All you're doing is fighting whelps. Because you've got to wait until the range classes do enough damage for the fucker to land. It's really aggravating to be a melee character, and where you can't then use your melee weapon against this awesome looking dragon because it wants to spend 90% of his time in the fucking air. Our dragons can be flashed 3 times, then they're immune. And see, that's what I mean. That is a problem. Because unless you've got a full team, you're not killing Kashala Daor that fast. You're not going to kill her in 3 flashes. You're just not. Doesn't matter what build you've got, what weapon you've got, you're not killing her that fast. At least not one of the tempered or arch-tempered ones. No chance. It's just too much of a pain in the arse to kill. Our movements are all over the place, they're erratic as fuck. What's up with you? What's the deal?
You are true professionals.
Did that squid just say to me, "You are 3 professionals"? Daily cat purrs and meows. She just here, you know, dad's your darling. Hey, what's up? Come for cuddle. Come for cuddle. Come on then. What's up, baby? Hey, what you been doing? What you been doing? Huh? What's the matter? What are you up to? Huh? Little miss, bless her. Oh God! Look at that Shreve. I'm off by 4. Fucking 4. Right, which one of these is cheapest? That's 21. That's 24. And that's only 20? That's 20. How are you worth less than a bottle of fucking that and this? About what? What? Did he not take some of the previous items? I only put one item on there. It gave me 117. He didn't take some of the previous stuff. Motherfucker. Squidward scamming people. Yeah, it must have been because it glitched into the side of the wall or something. I didn't take it. Motherfucker. Because that means it makes it harder because I've got, well, 45 there plus that, which is probably about 80. And then I've got these two here, which is 24 and 21. So collectively I've probably got just under 200. But that's the fucking target, the 510. Which means I need probably 330, 340 I need to find. Which means I need more than 100 in every single day. Which is doable, but it depends on, well, one, what weather effects you get on which maps. And then if you land and you get like a fucking fox thing that's already spawned, or a goddamn early spawning sightless dog, or you walk through the door and a thumper comes straight at you. Can always be a pain in the ass. But I think I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it early today. I was going to try and do 3 hours. I'm going to do 2.5. Because I'm really fucking hungry. I'm going to have some food. And then I'm going to do some thumbnails and some intros for my Alone in the Dark videos. And see what else I can get sorted. But thank you for staying with me, Sharif, and keeping me sane. I appreciate it, my brother. And I will hopefully see you on Sunday for some Last Epoch. Because on that, I'm going to be breaking some bones with them fucking them monolith bosses. I can't wait to go through those and finish all those. That'll be really good. So I think I might do a bit Necromancer and a bit of the my Paladin guy, my Warpath guy. You're going to start a new character on Epoch? Are you starting the new cycle? What's the matter with you? What? You're very small. Don't know yet. I'll just start a new one since it's been ages since I played. And games stole all my gold. Yeah, it's stolen my gold too, to be fair with you. I don't know why they did that. That's kind of fucking weird. I hope that's something they fix for the next cycle. So it doesn't keep stealing your gold. That's kind of fucking stupid. But I think it's because it went from being a cycle character to a non-cycle character. So hopefully that shouldn't happen again. So now my characters are both non-cycle. I'm just going to continue playing them. And then when I've got all the stuff done, I might look at going into a new cycle character. I don't know. I'll see. Because then what I might do is, as weird as it sounds, I might make another Necromancer with minions, but I might try to gear them towards like a certain type of element. So like poison, fire, necrotic. And I might try the Archmages instead of Death Knights. And I might try going like one route with the skeletons. So like having all rogues or all archers rather than a mix of archers and the warrior guys. I might even have multiple golems as well, rather than just one big one. I'm not bothered about trying other classes. I'll be honest, I think I'm quite happy with my two classes, the Necromancer and the Paladin. They're the only two I'm bothered about. The only other Paladin that I might try a tank one with a shield and a one-hander and see just how tanky they can be. And then see if I can make one that's like an immortal Paladin, essentially. And then try and make a builder for that. But I will speak to you on Sunday then, buddy. If I don't speak to you in the meantime on Discord. But take care of yourself, stay safe, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, my brother. Paladin early on is a bit of a pain, but late bloom anyways. Yeah, Paladin is, yeah. It works very similar to Barbarian in Diablo 2.